The relationship between the United States and China is the defining geopolitical challenge of the 21st century. This dynamic interplay between the two superpowers shapes not only their own futures, but also the global landscape. The stakes are high, and the world watches closely as these two giants navigate their complex relationship. It is a complex relationship marked by both cooperation and competition. On one hand, the two nations collaborate on various global issues such as climate change, public health, and international security. On the other hand, they are locked in a fierce competition for economic, technological, and military supremacy. However, in recent years, the competitive aspects have come to the fore. The trade disputes, technological rivalries, and military posturing have intensified, creating a more adversarial atmosphere. This shift has significant implications for global stability and economic growth. At the heart of this rivalry is a fundamental clash of economic interests and ambitions. The United States seeks to maintain its position as the world's leading economic power, while China aims to challenge that dominance and establish itself as a global leader. The United States, long the dominant global power, has grown increasingly wary of China's rapid economic rise. This wariness is fueled by concerns over China's growing influence in international institutions, its expanding military capabilities, and its aggressive economic policies. China, for its part, is determined to become a global leader in its own right. Through initiatives like the Belt and Road, China is extending its reach across Asia, Africa, and Europe, building infrastructure and fostering economic ties that enhance its global influence. This ambition is evident in its pursuit of technological dominance, its growing military might, and its assertive foreign policy. China is investing heavily in cutting-edge technologies such as 5G, artificial intelligence, and quantum computing, aiming to outpace the US in these critical areas. The economic tensions between the two countries are rooted in a number of factors. These include not only trade imbalances but also deeper issues related to market access, regulatory practices, and strategic industries. These include China's massive trade surplus with the United States, which has been a long-standing point of contention. The US argues that this surplus is a result of unfair trade practices and market distortions. Its alleged unfair trade practices, which encompass a range of issues from subsidies to state-owned enterprises. These practices are seen as giving Chinese companies an unfair advantage in the global marketplace, and its ambitious industrial policies. China's strategic plans, such as Made in China 2025, aim to make the country a leader in high-tech industries, further intensifying the competition with the US. The US has accused China of intellectual property theft, forced technology transfers, and currency manipulation. These accusations have led to a series of legal battles and trade restrictions, further straining the relationship. These tensions came to a head in 2018, marking the beginning of what has been dubbed the trade war. This conflict saw both countries imposing tariffs on each other's goods, leading to a significant escalation in economic hostilities. This conflict, characterized by tit-for-tat tariffs and retaliatory measures, has had far-reaching consequences for both countries and the global economy. The trade war has disrupted supply chains, increased costs for businesses and consumers, and created uncertainty in global markets. As the rivalry continues to evolve, its impact will be felt across the world, shaping the future of international relations and economic policies. In July 2018, the Trump administration fired the opening salvo in the trade war by imposing tariffs on $34 billion worth of Chinese goods. This marked the beginning of a significant shift in international trade relations, as the United States sought to address long-standing grievances over trade imbalances and alleged unfair practices by China. This move, justified on the grounds of protecting American jobs and intellectual property, was met with immediate retaliation from Beijing. The Chinese government, viewing the tariffs as an aggressive act, responded swiftly to defend its economic interests and maintain its position in the global market. China slapped tariffs on an equivalent value of US goods, targeting key American exports such as soybeans and automobiles. These sectors were chosen strategically, as they are vital to the US economy and have significant political influence, particularly in states that supported the Trump administration. These initial tariffs were just the beginning. The trade war quickly evolved into a tit-for-tat exchange, with each side imposing increasingly severe tariffs on a broader range of products. This escalation created an atmosphere of uncertainty and tension in global trade. Over the following months, the two sides engaged in a series of escalatory moves, each round of tariffs targeting a wider range of products and increasing the economic stakes. The impact of these measures was felt not only by large corporations but also by small businesses and consumers who faced higher prices and disrupted supply chains. The trade war quickly escalated beyond a bilateral dispute, sending shockwaves through global markets and disrupting supply chains worldwide. Investors and businesses around the globe watched nervously as the conflict threatened to destabilize the international economic order. Businesses and consumers on both sides of the Pacific began to feel the pinch as the costs of imported goods rose. American farmers, manufacturers, and retailers faced declining sales and increased costs, while Chinese companies struggled with reduced access to the U.S. market and higher tariffs on their exports. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, warned that the trade war was a threat to global economic growth and urged both sides to find a negotiated solution. The IMF's concerns highlighted the broader implications of the trade conflict, emphasizing the need for cooperation and dialogue to prevent further economic damage and ensure stability in the global economy. Despite warnings from international organizations and business groups, the trade war continued to escalate throughout 2018 and 2019. The Trump administration imposed tariffs on virtually all Chinese imports, while China retaliated in kind. The value of goods subject to tariffs soared into the hundreds of billions of dollars. The economic impact of the trade war was significant. In the United States, businesses faced higher input costs, consumers paid more for everyday goods, and farmers struggled to sell their products as Chinese markets dried up. China also experienced economic pain, with its manufacturing sector hit particularly hard. Despite the economic fallout, neither side seemed willing to back down. The trade war had become about more than just economic interests. It had become a test of political will, and a symbol of the broader geopolitical competition between the two superpowers. Section 4. China's technological ambitions. The trade war also highlighted China's growing technological ambitions. China has long sought to move up the value chain, transitioning from a low-cost manufacturing hub to a global leader in innovation. The Trump administration's actions, particularly its targeting of Chinese tech companies like Huawei, were seen by Beijing as an attempt to stifle its technological rise. In response, China doubled down on its efforts to achieve technological self-sufficiency. China poured resources into research and development, focusing on key areas like artificial intelligence, quantum computing, and 5G wireless technology. It also implemented policies aimed at fostering domestic innovation and reducing reliance on foreign technology. China's technological ambitions are not just about economic competitiveness, they also have significant national security implications. The development of indigenous technologies is seen as crucial for reducing China's vulnerability to foreign pressure. Section 5. Shifting Sands, Geopolitical Tensions. The trade war unfolded against a backdrop of rising geopolitical tensions between the United States and China. This conflict was not just about tariffs and trade deficits, it was emblematic of a deeper struggle for global supremacy. The two countries have long been at odds over a range of issues, including Taiwan, the South China Sea, and human rights. Taiwan remains a particularly sensitive issue, with China viewing it as a breakaway province, and the U.S. supporting its democratic government. The trade war exacerbated these tensions, further straining the relationship between the world's two most powerful nations. The imposition of tariffs and counter-tariffs created an atmosphere of economic uncertainty and mutual suspicion. The Trump administration's confrontational approach to China, which it labeled a strategic competitor, marked a significant shift in U.S. foreign policy. This approach was characterized by aggressive rhetoric and a series of punitive measures aimed at curbing China's economic ambitions. This strategy fueled a sense of mistrust and hostility. The U.S. accused China of unfair trade practices, intellectual property theft, and currency manipulation, while China saw these accusations as attempts to hinder its development. China, for its part, responded assertively to what it perceived as American attempts to contain its rise. President Xi Jinping's government took a firm stance, emphasizing national sovereignty and military strength. It strengthened its military presence in the South China Sea, a crucial maritime region rich in resources and strategic importance. This move was seen as a direct challenge to U.S. naval dominance in the area. Additionally, China intensified its diplomatic outreach to other countries, seeking to build alliances and counterbalance U.S. influence. This included forging new trade agreements and participating in international summits. China also promoted its own vision of a multipolar world order through initiatives like the Belt and Road Initiative, which aimed to enhance global trade connectivity and infrastructure development. The trade war, therefore, became entangled with broader geopolitical dynamics, turning what might have been a manageable economic dispute into a high-stakes battle for global influence. The economic skirmishes were just one front in a larger contest for technological, military, and diplomatic supremacy. This struggle for dominance has far-reaching implications, not just for the US and China, but for the entire world. As these two giants vie for power, the global order itself is being reshaped, with potential consequences for international stability and economic prosperity. Section 6. The military dimension. The escalating rivalry between the US and China is not limited to the economic and technological spheres. It has a distinct military dimension, adding another layer of complexity and risk to the relationship. China's rapid military modernization, particularly its naval expansion and development of advanced weapon systems, has raised concerns in Washington and among US allies in the region. The US continues to maintain a significant military presence in the Asia-Pacific, but China's growing capabilities are shifting the balance of power. This has led to increased military activity in the region, with both sides conducting exercises and deploying assets in a show of force. The risk of miscalculation and unintended escalation is a growing concern. Incidents at sea or in the air, even if unintentional, could quickly spiral out of control given the heightened tensions and lack of trust between the two militaries.